Today. Welcome to the best gambling show on the internet. This is the home of the money pick. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Live on Instagram, live on YouTube. Let's get this money. Week 14 of the NFL coming up. I'm over on YouTube. I see the normal people joining me on Instagram. Just wanted to say what's up. Yeah, man, what's up? What's up, Tobu? What's up, everyone? What's up, Taylor? What's up, Slurry Plumper? Slurry, was that the Raiders choking it, or was that kind of cheese? I say that because I got a long spiel to go on about that game, but listen, we saw a similar thing Monday night against the Bucs and Saints game. I mean, we saw the holding calls not called. I mean, last night was blatant. And listen, maybe the NFL rig guys were right. Maybe they were, but that was just blatant, man. It's kind of hard to defend what we saw last night. I can't. When you look at that game, Raiders dominated it. And of course, Carr, he throws that interception in the red zone before the half. Of course, we get that. But other than that, Raiders dominated the game. And yeah, man, Freshness, I wouldn't feel bad about it. Like, if you bet Raiders, was that really the wrong call? I mean, it's almost like the NFL, nothing means anything anymore. Like, we always heard, and I've always bet on, the NFL's about preparation, the NFL's about execution, the NFL's about continuity. Baker Mayfield comes in with street clothes 24 hours before, and he wins an NFL game with a Rams team that's riddled with injuries, a Rams team that is completely decapitated. It's just, yeah, that one was hard for me to swallow. And then plus, let's just get back to the bigger theme. Every Thursday night game has been low quality football. It feels like they're trying to keep these games close after the first 3-4 weeks where the Thursday night games weren't competitive. It just feels like that. I'm gonna like see what you guys say about it. Donald is saying if you bet the Raiders, you're betting the side that had 80% of the money on it. Well, that's what makes it really, really suspicious. When we picked it on Tuesday, we picked it Raiders -5.5. And they obliterated the early bettors with that one too. I thought the early bettors would be in there fast. But yeah, and he learned the offense in 24 hours. Like, so this is what the NFL is right now. Like, it's fucking like NBA. You fucking trade for Kyrie. He comes in and puts up like 38 points and there's no adjustment to it. And I know the Raiders are trash. Listen, we know the Raiders are trash. We bet them the last 2 weeks. But even I said after they beat Seattle, that was, it was kind of lucky with how bad their pass defense was. Yeah, like for me, man, so let's just get to it. Let's just get to it. Let's get to the Patreon questions. Live on YouTube, John Lawson. Live on Instagram today. We'll see how this holds up. My microphone on my cell phone sucks. So I'm not sure how it's coming through. Nicholas Vincent. Hey, Lawson, thanks for all the great picks. What is your favorite 2-team teaser? Here are the teams I'd like to tease this week. I like the Ravens to tease them up They're at +2 right now. You can go 6 or 7 with that. Get the Ravens at +8. Chiefs are a good team to tease down. Is that still at 9? Or did it get lower? I don't like teasing something down to 3. Let me move my cell phone so I can see the spreads. Okay, what's that Chiefs game at? Let me just check that out real quick because the lines have been moving a little bit. Yeah, it's at 9.5. I wouldn't be opposed. I would prefer the 7.1 with that. But if you did that by 6 points, I wouldn't be fine with it. Another team, I like teasing the Vikings up. I don't see much of a problem with that. I think that game's going to be a 1-score game. I think the Vikings win it, although Detroit has been just crazy. We've been riding that upset alert a lot. I do think it comes to end this week, but it's going to be a close game. And even though I like the Patriots to win, I think Zona is an option to tease. So those are the ones. If I had to pick the best, I would go Ravens. I would go Ravens and Vikings. Yeah. You guys are right. It felt almost like a story. Here we go. It's Shannon Spicer saying it's 10.5. Okay. From what I'm looking at, it's like -9.5, -9 still. I'm sure it's going to be fluctuating a little bit. Okay, let me get to the next Patreon question. Lino, yo, what's good, my guy? How you feeling about this week's play? How about I don't know what you're saying about like the locker room towel snapping again. And even the Broncos got the cover last week. I told you guys it brings camaraderie and builds character. Let's get this money, J-Law. Yeah, man. I'm feeling pretty good. I was feeling probably like 9 out of 10 before that Raiders game last night. I didn't put a bet in on the Raiders. But once you have a game like that, it's going to rattle you a little bit, especially if you put in the work. I'm feeling like 7.5 out of 10 on the picks this week. Definitely, I'm lone wolfing it on a few, which in this year's NFL, it's been more effective. You almost kind of just go for the craziest thing and you get it. That's what I'm looking at. This is from Adrian Lawson. You are the man. I appreciate. Okay, here we go. Jesus, man. Yeah, this Instagram thing's distracting me. Okay, let me go. Okay, here we go. Okay, my bad about that. Here we go. Just have to get back to my page. Yeah, but how's everyone's doing tonight? How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's good. Okay. This is from Cadfire. Who watched that? Horrible officiating, horrible game plan. The officials gave the game to the Rams with what should have been a no call on the pass interference, which would have allowed the interception, game over. Then the next play was even worse. Baker gets sacked and somehow there was an unsportsmanlike call. Rigged NFL. The media is making this to be a Baker Mayfield comeback. He's trash. Yeah, it was awful officiating. There was 4 holding calls on Max Crosby that last drive. I mean, if we're being lenient with it, you could say maybe 2 of those. I mean, you absolutely, like fucking Max Crosby's like rushing around the edge and it just gets like choked out. It comes to a certain point where it gets a little bit cheesy. There's only so many ways to go. I mean, there's only so much ways to go with that. Here we go. Ryan, now anyone who says the NFL is not rigged, more power to you, man. Yeah, listen, they've been really involved in specific games this year. And when Mike Florio is the most straight-laced guy ever. When Mike Florio is writing an article about the Saints-Bucks game, and then he wrote the article about the Raiders game last night, it's kind of fishy, especially with legalized gambling. It's pretty insane. Steven Martinez. John, what do you think about this teaser? KC -2.5 and Baltimore +9. I like it. I had mentioned earlier in the show that is one of the ones I'm targeting. Like I said, if the Chiefs stay at 9 like they are, I think that one's good. Okay, here we go. Let me get to the next Patreon question. Moneyline Repo, what score are you predicting for the Bucs Niners game? I'm going. Give me 21-17. Give me 21-17. That just barely slides over the over as well. It's going to be a good game. And I just want to reiterate. Everyone be careful with that Bucs 49ers game. My initial read on it was to pound the Bucs at +4. Now, if you put my life on the line and had me make that bet, I would probably go that way. But I do not want anything to do with that game. We've been complaining about the Bucs all year. And my main problem with the Bucs is 1st and 10. We know what they're going to do. They're going to run it up the middle. They're going to get 2 or 3 centimeters. Then you got Brady in 2nd and 10. Tristan Wirfs is out on the right side, so I'm sure Bosa's going to have a field day. It's just a game I think we should stay away from, even though I think it's a game we should stay away from, even though, man, even though it's Brock Purdy, man. Skyway AJ says Lawson works for Vegas. I wish. I don't know if I would be able to do what they do. Normally when I guess spreads, I'm pretty close when I guess on Monday morning. But the way Vegas manipulates some of these line changes. Yeah, dude, I'm not going out tonight. Yeah, people are really sad here after Brazil lost, man. People are really, really bummed. And someone asked on Instagram about who's going to win the World Cup. I would go with a long shot and just go Croatia. I would go with a long shot. Holland and Argentina. It is in extra time right now. I don't know what's going on with that, but J Beebs 23 Steelers money line this week. Sorry if you talked about this already. I don't like the Steelers this week. Let me try to sway you away from that game. Firstly, Tyler Huntley's stats were not good last year. Let's be honest about that. Lamar Jackson officially is out of the game. We always thought he wouldn't play this week. So that's the first thing. Second thing, I think Tyler Huntley is equal to Pickett, if not better. And I think this game on Sunday, we got 2 really good coaches. We got 2 pretty good defenses. Obviously, the Steelers have the better playmakers on defense than the Ravens. But I think this Ravens defense, they won't give up a 30-piece to the Steelers. Can we say that, even though Pickett has been playing better? So I just think Huntley makes more plays. Like, this is going to be a close game. Like, I see like a 2017 game, 17-14 game. I don't really see. Some people think this is going to get high scoring. I don't see that. Like, I think this is going to be a brutal game. I think it's going to be a game about Tyler Huntley getting 3 or 4 big scrambles and that changing the pace of the game. And then when we're in this battle of close teams with really good head coaches, give me Justin Tucker with the field goal kicking. Dude, I don't like going there. We don't like talking about field goal kickers on the channel. I get it. But when you got Justin Tucker, man, that is bulletproof. That is bulletproof in a close game like this. Thank you for the question. This is from Daniel on Patreon. My question, if the Raiders can pick up someone like Daniel Jones before next season, would it be crazy to think he could have a historic season with Devontae Adams? And since Vegas is hosting the Super Bowl, wouldn't it be perfect for the script? But for real, with a better quarterback play, they would be pretty damn good, right? Money, money. Thanks, man. Dan, what's up, Dan? I hope you're doing good tonight. Here we go. I don't think Daniel Jones would play better than Carr, and maybe I'm a Carr mark, but I would obviously take Carr over Daniel Jones. But I think this probably should be Carr's last year. But can I be honest about something, Dan? I guess one of my main concerns with the Raiders this year has been the coaching. And when you add Devontae Adams, like even Matt Collins, okay, Renfro and Waller are hurt, but the Raiders still got weapons for days. Like Matt Collins has played good this year. Moreau, the backup tight ends, played good this year. Josh Jacobs has been going off the last 5-6 weeks. But the Raiders do need a new quarterback. I think they want to cut bait from Carr. I think McDaniels doesn't like Carr. That's just my speculation. And if McDaniels didn't have such a big contract, I think they would fire him this year. Unfortunately, Raiders fans will be stuck. Even though I wanted to call out the cheese last night that we saw with some of the missed calls, we do have to say Josh McDaniels has lost 5 or 6 games like that this year. It's been absolutely insane. Here we go. This is from Ryan. Yo, Lawson, your view on this. Players like Dwight Smith, Larry Johnson, and Jalen Ramsey all coming out saying the NFL is scripted. You share that take or you think it's all real? Like I said, I know how it goes against your brand here, but you have to answer the tough questions and keep it real. The NFL argued in court they are sports entertainment, which makes scripting games legal in the Deflategate case. I'd like your take. Thanks, Ryan. Dude, I'm never going to back away from a question. I don't think it's like orchestrated from the top. Like, I don't think Goodell's sitting in his office planning these games piece by piece. And I don't think he's on a headset during the games. I certainly hope not, man. I really do. Like Ryan, you're trying to make fucking shatter Santa Claus from my life as well. Second, though, I do think there are some Tim Donaghy type situations. Listen, a lot of us have been doing this for 4 or 5 years. A lot of us have. I have. A lot of my viewers have been here when it wasn't popular, when people who bet on sports were considered scumbags, bums, deadbeat dads, whatever names you want to throw out that they were calling us and framing us as, whatever names. And then it started to get a little bit more popular, and now it's to the point where an average NFL game has double the money on it from 2-3 years ago. And you got a big company like FanDuel who buys other companies. Look at how much they've spent lobbying politicians in California alone. California and New York are very, very lobby-heavy states. Look at how far they did that, man. Just to get it legal in those states. Just one example, 2 small examples. So I do think we have a rogue Tim Donaghy in the league. For anyone who doesn't know who Tim Donaghy is, Tim Donaghy was that single ref who was fixing games, and he would do it to the point spread. Point spread can be easy to fix. We've seen it, and it's been documented before. A few years back on the channel, I think I still have the video up. We had a guy named Brian Toohey. He was on. And he explained why he thinks it's rigged. For me, man, I do think we have a few Tim Donaghys in the league. There's just too much money at this point for us to say no. And like Prime VA on YouTube, I'm going to just read this comment. I started betting in 2014, and it does seem more scripted since becoming more mainstream. I agree. I agree, man. Yeah. So I don't know what to say. Like crazy shit has always gone down in the NFL. When I was like 15, 16, a crazy moment happened in Pittsburgh Patriots, which tilted a spread on the last play of the game that meant nothing. We haven't had one of those moments in quite some time, but there was just a pure accumulation of moments in that Raiders game and in that Bucs game Monday night. Listen, one helped me, one hurt me. But yeah. Yeah, and a lot of you guys say NBA is the worst to bet. I completely agree. Yeah, and Alex is saying they have a documentary on Tim Donaghy on Hulu. And listen, yeah, man, I read a book about it. It fits into some of the stuff you guys have been saying today. Yeah, man. Caleb, my Raiders broke my heart in SoFi. Caleb, you were at the game, my man. It just sucks, man. It just sucks to see the Raiders play like this. Let's take out the officials. It just sucks to see the Raiders play like this. They've had like 4, 5, fucking maybe even 6 17-point leads. And we know in the NFL, 17 is a big lead. Okay, it's not like getting a 17-point lead against the Chiefs. We can excuse that one. I mean, they damn near blew a 17-point lead to the Jags. They've blown 17-point lead after 17-point lead this year. And I know it didn't get up all that high on the Rams game, but when you got a quarterback coming off the street, maybe knows like 25 to 30 plays with 4 or 5 formations, we have to look at the Raiders a little bit too. Josh McDaniels shouldn't be a coach. And like Freshness said, the Raiders have no discipline. No discipline, man. Moneyline Repo, Lawson, Big Bro. Is this offensive line issue too major for the Dolphins to overcome, or are they bounce back with a win? I think they bounce back with a win. I am worried about it, though. It is looking like Armstead will play. But with the Dolphins, they're a team that gives conflicting injury news. Let's see what it's saying right now. Let's see what the Dolphin situation is right now. Just bringing it up on my computer. Because you're right. Okay, so where Armstead's questionable, Austin Jackson's out. Listen. Yeah, Josh McDaniels is a great coordinator, though. Okay, listen. Let's talk about this Chargers-Dolphins game. Oh, super chat from Brian Webb. Super chat with Brian Webb. Thank you for the donation, my friend. Hey, Lawson, let's get this money. That game last night was a joke. How do you feel about the Jags, Zona, Chargers? Can they upset Miami? And I love Cincinnati this week. They're 5.5. Like what you're thinking. Okay, Brian, I do like the Jags this week. Now, it looks like Trevor Lawrence will play, right? From the news I read, he's progressing good. So just make sure about that before you get to it. As for Zona, I'm staying away from the Pat Zona game. Not trying to make excuses, but I've always had the rule, try to stay away from betting primetime games. And it's honestly the golden rule when we're talking NFL at this point. So I'm staying away from that. I don't think the Chargers can upset Miami, though. One thing with the Chargers is Bose has been out pretty much this whole year. And yeah, they still have Khalil Mack, but I think their front seven is really, really weak, especially against the run. You can push them around. And I think Miami runs the ball better. Cincinnati this week is -5.5. I think the Browns play good that game, man. I think the Browns play good that game. And like we're seeing in this league, 5.5 is a lot. 5.5 is a lot of points in this league. Yes, I do think the Bengals will win the game, but 5.5 is a lot. When I picked it on Tuesday, I had Browns plus 6.5. Yeah, man. If it's down to 5.5, you can consider Bengals, but yeah, I want to go that far. Okay. Jack, what's your name on Patreon? What's your name on Patreon? Do you have the same name on Patreon? We're getting to the Patreon question. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we go. Derek, what's up, Derek? Hey, John, thanks for all your awesome videos and advice this year. Keep it up and let's get it. Need more teaser advice. If you had to take off 1 or 2 games on the 7-point teaser, which one would they be? Cincinnati plus 1.5, Dallas minus 10.5, Buffalo minus 3, Philly in a pick'em, KC minus 2.5, Miami plus 4. Okay, take 1 or 2 off. Dallas at minus 10.5. Wow, let's take that off. Let's take that off. I think Dallas blows them out. I've been saying all year, man, they're terrible. And a lot of people were rain dancing about the Bengals win against the Chiefs last week. And all those same people were telling me the Texans would cover against the Browns, and that was some sort of bad pick. Texans are really bad, but let's take that off because 10.5 is a lot. I would take the Cincinnati plus 1.5 off, and I would go at Buffalo minus 3, Philly plus 0, KC minus 2.5, and Miami plus 4. And if I had to add another one on that, I would consider the Ravens, Derek. Here we go. Melissa G14. Without having the proverbial crystal ball, do you think this is going to be a big week for dogs? Just seems like the favorites are almost too obvious. Overthinking is often my thorn. Melissa, don't overthink. And if you're talking about like the Rams winning, that is the type of game where I don't care what analysis you're doing. The more analysis you do, the worse you're going to be off. But secondly, let's get to it. I think there will be some underdogs winning this week. Like, for instance, I'm not sold on the Bengals beating the shit out of the Browns as a lot of you guys. That's one game where I would proceed with caution. As the week went on, you guys made me a little bit more wary about the Dolphins. Even though the Chargers have a bad front seven, you guys made me wary. And the film kind of backs you up on that. Upset that a lot of people are talking about is Panthers against the Hawks. Listen, the Hawks let us down in that spot against the Rams last week. They should have covered that game, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? I'm just seeing, man, I don't see how the Panthers beat the Hawks, for instance. Bucks are going to be feisty with the 49ers. And if you are thinking of betting the 49ers, you have to just completely know that Brady and this Bucks team don't have a spark left. So there are some dangerous games. And I'm not seeing enough talk about the Jags. Now, some of you guys have been talking about it, but I'm not seeing enough talk about the Jags. I do think if Lawrence is healthy, this Jags team can have a renaissance. Last week, we were on Detroit. The public was on the Jags. The experts were on the Jags. Yeah, man. That's where we're at. Instagram viewers, I'm going to go over to YouTube now. My phone's dying on the battery. Thank you for joining me. Let's get this money. YouTube, John Lawson. Slam that like button. Yeah, the Titans did look like flowers last. A lot of action on the Panthers. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Yeah, Brent, that's the problem with Seattle. That's why, like, that's when you have to go down to Sunday. I'm more worried about DK Metcalf being out. And we saw that Seahawks offense was a little bit out of place last week when Walker got hurt. So, I mean, that's a good point, man. Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. God is great. God is great. All right, let's get to the Patreon questions. Yeah, like, so Melissa, don't overthink the underdog things. Just look at the matchups in the games. Look at the matchups in the games. There's going to be crazy stuff in the NFL. We've been right about the Lions pulling all this crazy stuff the last 5 weeks. So we can spot it, but spotting like the Rams beating the Raiders is a bit tough. Lawson, good day, sir. Only 2 bets this week on Patreon. Clock. There will be more bets up. Seems like we've been having a lot of break-even weeks this year. How do you feel about the Ravens this week? Tough card this week, but I like the Ravens. Clock, I love the Ravens too. I put in the 2 bets early, so we didn't have to get any more line movement. Because some of this late line movement Friday night, Saturday morning has been bothering me this year. But yeah, man, I love the Ravens, and my analysis still holds. I'm not the biggest Kenny Pickett guy. I think Tyler Huntley is better than his stats last year suggested. I think the Ravens are a solid team. Obviously, the Steelers are getting better, but top to bottom roster-wise, I think the Ravens are a better team. I think the Ravens are going to be able to run the ball better. Now, Steelers have been running it, but I think the Ravens will do something with that. I think they'll put 8 men in the box. I like the Ravens in that game. I just think Huntley makes more plays than Pickett. And like I said earlier, these are 2 really good coaches, and it's going to be it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a 1 or 2 play type difference. In those type of games, give me Tucker, give me the points, give me Tyler Huntley. That's where I'm at. Joe Mendoza, hey John, am I missing something with the Vikings against the Lions? Well, who you want to pick that game? I think everyone is kind of behind on the Lions. We've been saying they're a pretty decent team for the last 5 weeks, and we've bet them against the spread every week, and they've come through. I just think this is the week to jump off. What's your opinion on it? Let's get to the next Patreon question. Okay, here we go. Paulie, forget about it. Hey, John, do you factor into your picks what side the public is on? No. For example, 2 weeks ago, all the public money was on the Ravens against the Jags, regardless of how lousy Baltimore has been against the spread. Just curious if this should factor in when making picks. As always, thank you for all the work you do. It is really appreciated. I never factored it in, Paulie. We got the Jags in that upset against the Ravens, but I was just looking at the game from a football perspective. Maybe I did look at it from that type of perspective. I looked at it from this perspective that the Ravens have allowed a lot of backdoor covers this year. They've let a lot of people down, and they've been one of the most frustrating teams in the league. I think it's something maybe I should be looking at. I try not to let it get in my head because there's been weeks where, where we've been with the public and won. But it does seem like a threshold. Like if it gets over 75% or 70% of the public on one team, it does seem to have break the other way lately. It really has. Use about Fernandez. No more teaser videos. I will put up one next week. I will put up one. I was just trying to help the algorithm. The algorithm's been doing better. So next week I'm going to put them up. I'll put it up Thursday morning. Okay, here we go. This is from Mikhail. What's up, J Law? Hope all is well with the family. Hope your holidays are fantastic, and let's keep getting this money. My stone cold lock pick for the week 2 is a 2-teamer. Philly -1, Titans +2.5. Yeah, Brazil's out with the tie, Mikhail, unfortunately. I like that one. I like that one. I really like teasing Philly this week. I like because I obviously you guys know I'm going to put up a teaser on Patreon, a 2-team teaser that we can get at like -120, -115 in that area code. Eagles are one of the teams I have written down. Absolutely love the Eagles on a teaser this week, and I like teasing games too that have like a low over under. Like, let me tell you why I like teasing the Ravens this week. Ravens are +2 right now. I like teasing them up to +8, +9, whatever you use. And look at how low that over under is. You see what I'm saying here? I don't need to go into the math for you guys, but you see what I'm saying. When games have a low over under, normally the point difference is a lot smaller. That's why I like those for teasers. But I absolutely love the Eagles this week if we're talking teaser. Here we go. Custom made 81. What up, J Law? About your other favorite team last night, the Las Vegas Raiders. I understand that the Raiders made mistakes. For example, that Derek get the F out of my car, interception, inexcusable, deplorable. With that being said, good thing the game was near Hollywood last night. Your thoughts? It was absolutely crazy. I talked about it earlier, but those holding calls in the last drive were absolutely inexcusable. It did feel a little bit scripted. It did feel a little bit Hollywood. I mean, we were raised, NFL's about preparation. Starting quarterbacks are better than backup quarterbacks. Man, it takes so long to prepare for an NFL playbook. And then we see a guy come off the street 24 hours earlier, come in and score 2 touchdowns in 4 minutes. And there was just a lot of hairy stuff with that game last night. And then you pair it with what happened in the Monday night primetime game. There was a lot of missed holding calls, and we've seen a lot of holding calls this year in critical times, but normally on run plays, right? They come out of nowhere. Cowboys against the Packers in overtime. Cowboys get a 20-yard run. They call a hold on the complete opposite side of the field. There's just been so much of that this year, man. There's just been so much of it this year. Avon, do you think the NFL is fixed? I wouldn't say fixed, but I think primetime games have always been dangerous, but this year they've been more dangerous than normal. I do think there's some interference on primetime games. I'll go that far. I'll go that far, man. And that's why I've always had the rule: don't bet primetime games. But we always this is what we do. We bet games. We analyze football. So we're always going to be called into the primetime games, especially if the analysis bears it out. I mean, if you see an advantage, you have to take it. Like last week, we thought the Bills would beat the hell out of the Patriots. It happened. Although they were trying to keep that game close as well. Okay, let's see if I missed a Patreon question. And thank you for all the support on Patreon. I really appreciate it. Bats will be up tonight. I put in too early. Putting up more bats tonight, so they'll be up tonight. So stay tuned. Okay, I think we got through all the Patreon questions. Let me see if I missed them. Okay, here we go. Pretty sure I got them all. I appreciate the support on Patreon. Just want to let you guys know. Um, Here we go. Okay, let's get to the YouTube. Um, Avon, anything more than a two-team parlay is BS. I agree. Never been a big fan of parlays. I like teasers. The two-team teasers have been hitting for us a lot. They have. Campbell Jones, Lawson, are the Eagles the best team in the NFL? Tough question. Tough question. At this point, I would probably, if we're talking all teams healthy, I would go Bills, Eagles, Cowboys, Chiefs. I would still say the Bills are the best, although we have to see a lot of improvement from the Bills. But I do see the Bills getting healthier on defense. That's why I would edge to them. My only concern about the Eagles is their run defense. Are they going to get that shored up? We know the Eagles are going to run the ball. They're going to have explosive plays with their wide receivers. Hurts is going to make some plays. We know Mahomes is going to keep the Chiefs playing pretty good. Bengals have been playing really good football. We got to give them credit. Yeah. JSOP 121. Chiefs first half could be a lock this week. What is it, my man? What is it, man? That's that because and the Broncos are terrible in the first half. And I think the Broncos have like 27 out of 32 in terms of play scripting. Like the script is the first 15 to 20 plays of the game. I think Broncos are bottom 5 in the league. I mean, they're pretty much bottom 5 in any category. Silk Johnson, how are the Lions favored over the Vikings? Because it's a drastic overreaction. Silk, I don't know how long you've been watching the show, but these last 5 weeks, we've been pounding the Lions. Lions against the spread, Lions money line against the Giants. We've been pounding them, and no one was on the train with us. So now that it's popular, everyone wants to get on the train. And I don't think this is a good spot for the Lions. I'm curious about this over under in the Lions game. Like it's going to be 52.5. I think both teams are going to try to play this game in a more playoff type mood, try to slower the play pace, but I still think it finds a way to go over. I mean, it's an interesting game, man. And the Lions have a very, very good offense. And I've been saying it all year. I think the Lions offensive play calling is the best in the league. I know. It sounds crazy, but I think Johnson, their offensive coordinator, has been the best offensive coordinator in the league. Could be a look, not a lock. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, and it's good, man, because any game that has involved the Broncos this year, especially the last 6 weeks, they always seem to find a way to keep it close enough to cover, especially in the second half. So I have an open mind to that. I got to find a number though. Here we go. Brandon, Giants money line, Browns money line, and Vikings money line in the parlay, and you will cash bread. Yeah, but Brandon, I love you, man, but give us a reason why the Giants are going to win that game. My only argument for the Giants covering this week was day ball magic. And he's such a good play caller. The offense always runs smoothly. But other than that, I couldn't find much of a rationale. Okay, here we go. Freshness. I'm gonna get you on, my man. I just saw your email. Here we go. Okay, let's get to it. Here we go. Hey, Lawson, how are the 49ers being favored over the Buccaneers? The Bucs have been terrible. And their offensive metrics, their offensive stats are absolutely terrible. Here's what I think is the reason. I think it's because of the Buccaneers pass blocking. That would be my principal reason. Like everyone's trying to come down on Brady and say he sucks. Like I think he has like an 8 or 9 PFF grade this year. He's been pretty good. He's been pretty decent to me, given how bad the team is around him. I'm just not in love with what the Bucs are doing. But I do think this is a spot where maybe the Bucs can do something. One thing we know about the Bucs is their run defense is good. And I just don't know how much Brock Purdy's going to throw it. Boosie Boss, I do think the Cowboys can cover. Although the last 2 weeks, everyone should have been riding with me when we were talking about the Browns and the Dolphins, even though those were big point spreads. I just think maybe this one you should just stay the hell away from. Freshness, what's up, my man?
Hey, what's happening, brother? How you been, man? It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah, man, dude, I've been good, man. It's just a little bit of frustration with the NFL. The money picks have been great on Tuesday, and there's always some sort of backhand job that seems to happen on Sunday. But what can you do, man?
I want to get your intake, man. So for the last 3 weeks, I've lost about 4 bets by half a point and a point, man. And it's frustrating because I could have had a good Christmas, man, if at least half of those 4 games I lost have hit. And Kansas City really hurt me last week, man, because I had 3 different parlays, everything hit but KC, man. And it took me like 48 hours to recover mentally from that, man. And then yesterday it's like I couldn't complain because I had the Raiders money line. I had it parlayed with Tampa Bay from Monday night. And the way Tampa Bay won and the way the Raiders lost, I just had to let it go, man. I've watched football for years, and I've never seen an outcome like I did last night. And I never saw an outcome the way I won Monday night. So I couldn't. You can't be mad. You have to laugh at the losses sometimes, man. So mentally, here's my question for you, Lawson. How do you recover from a few weeks that, could have been good for you? Do you take a break or do you keep going?
Oh, I keep going.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but also I'm really consistent with what I bet. So, and I try to look at it from a long-term perspective, and I look at it more from like a year perspective than a week-to-week perspective. But yeah, man, sometimes it's a fucking gut punch. Especially like, bro, like if I made the wrong pick, I'm fine. I tip the fedora, I move on. But some of these games have been suspicious, and I'm like a big fucking NFL bootlicker, so to speak, but they're even getting suspicious for me or Mike Florio on Pro Football Talk. I can't imagine what the general public is thinking. Thirdly, dude, you can't do much about the money line losses, but get the bets in early on Tuesday. Because, dude, like I've talked to you a lot earlier in the year, and Tuesday you kind of knew where you were going, and that way you don't have to get jerked by the by the spread movement. Also, you can get jerked by the injuries, but I think that's why the Tuesday record always holds up. And the earlier putting the bets, the better.
Yeah. Well, let's talk this week. There's a lot of whales going on, a few games. Man, I'm trying to digest this, but here we go. I really like the KC in a teaser.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, KC to win by a field goal. If I had to put percentage-wise probability, there has to be a fucking 95%. That's going to happen. And then I don't know. Give me 6.5 points to Tampa Bay. Make that plus 10. I mean, who the hell is this Niners quarterback? I mean, listen,
Brock Purdy.
correct. I'm just saying, who the hell is he? Do I really care? What's his name? Like, is Tom Brady really like? Tom Brady will take this personal if he loses to this guy. That's just the way the guy is, you know. So I took those two games, teaser, and I put Buffalo in there, man. Buffalo at home against the Jets. I think the Jets are a good team, but I think they're gonna start to lose a couple of games as we wind down the season, man. That's
all those were games I had circled for the teaser. Although the Bucks won, I'm nervous about it. I am nervous about it, but they should be able to. Like, listen, if you break down the game, okay, one thing that's lasted from last year from the Bucks is the run defense. Correct? I mean, they're still pretty good against the run. I mean, Baltimore had a good day against them, but other than that, has anyone ran the ball on them?
no. Listen, Buccaneers defense. They've showed up most of these games. It's the offense that's been lacking.
Yeah, and I guess that's where I'm worried. Like Tristan Wirfs is going to be out at right tackle, and you got Bosa going up against him, and you saw Donovan Smith, how much he was holding against the Saints at left tackle. Those are two concerns, and I'm going to go back to something I told you already. This Bucks team, if they just spread it out and got the ball out of Tom's hands, they would win more games. This running up the middle every first down is not working. And that's the thing that's killing them. And Brady taking hits, but I think he's willing to take hits, but they have to get off this run game. I mean, they have to just fucking throw it out at this point. They're not going to run it.
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of games. The lines are high, which, that's scary because the other team is still a professional NFL team that's showing up to play, like Houston +7. I mean, Dallas -17. I'm not touching that. Could Dallas cover? Maybe. I just don't want the stress of knowing Dallas has to put that much points up and for me to win in the fourth quarter. With that said, there's a lot of good games to tease. I think this week is a good week to tease, man. But we'll see what happens. I just want to say hi to you, man.
Yeah, man. And, yeah, and any other games you like?
Minnesota is another. I'm going to go against the public. I think Minnesota wins in Detroit. Detroit just always finds a way to lose, man.
And yeah, because let me say this and I'll let you respond. Okay, you watched the show. I mean, okay, this last 5 weeks, we've been just hitting Detroit, spread after spread after spread. But people got to know when to get off. And I think they got a little bit of luck some of these games to stay in that Bills game, for instance. I'll take credit for it, but come on, they did get a little bit of luck. Giants game, we called that. I was happy with that, but I do think that Detroit's going to have a hard time against the Vikings. And last week, okay, I know my Vikings gave everyone a heart attack, and we all have the bet Vikings -3, but listen, man, I just think Detroit's defense, I think they're going to struggle stopping Dalvin Cook. I think this is going to be a slower pace game than people think. Vikings getting Darisaw back, it looks like, left tackle, getting a cornerback, Cam Dantzler. I mean, losing those two players have absolutely killed them. So I do like the Vikings.
Yeah, and listen, we are betting on 10-2? What's the Vikings record? 9-2, 10-2?
10-2.
10-2. So we have a 10-2 team that's the underdog.
Yeah.
If this was any other 10-2 teams, that'd be the favorite. Just in that, I mean, they just get to that point. But anyhow, man, hope you guys hit your tickets this weekend. But I definitely need it. So we'll stay in touch, man.
You'll get it, dude. What? Okay. What are you looking at? This is a type of game I'm surprised you weren't in play with before you go. This game had your name written all over. When I saw it fucking Monday morning, I was like, okay, I think he's going to bet this game. Could be wrong, though. Ravens at Steelers. You fucking love sweaters like this. That's a sweater, right? I mean,
listen, I would be jumping on this game, Ben, but when you lose a few games back to back, and it's like you were kind of like celebrating these games in the fourth quarter, and then you lose them, it kind of takes away your confidence, man. Like you start to look, okay, which I'm fucking teasing this weekend to win. I usually don't. I just usually focus on one or two games, but because of what's happened, man, I'm looking for a route to rebound. Would I bet the Ravens, man? The Ravens are a team that they're not playing with Jackson, right?
Yeah, they're with Tyler Huntley.
Okay, so this is a flip of a coin. I'm staying away from it, man. I am, but I would tease. I would tease Baltimore to add to the +2. So,
yeah, man. Yeah, and listen, you've seen the teasers. The 2-team teasers on Patreon have been very consistent this year. I would just play a few of those, especially if you want to sit out this week. But bro, if you have a good feeling on the game, you got to go get it.
You do got to go get it. And I might the game that I will probably be playing separately is Tampa Bay +3.5. And I have seen Brady in these positions. There's a lot of politics to this game. He's going to San Francisco. San Francisco is playing with, what is it, a third-string quarterback? Are you kidding me, Lawson? You want me to bet against a third-string quarterback against the GOAT? You guys have lost your mind thinking San Francisco is going to win this game.
That's what's crazy. No. And I think Tampa, maybe this is wishful thinking. Maybe this is like, the person thinking dad's going to come home and all that stuff. But I keep thinking, okay, Buck, they'll go up tempo this game. They'll use the short pass instead of the run game. If they just do that, they'll be able to win. And I love the 49ers defense. I've been talking about the 49ers defense all year. I'm talking to the chat. But this is an offensive league, man. And when you get people like Brock Purdy, it is troublesome. Another thing that is troublesome to me is, listen, Miami didn't play well last week, but let's look at those first 3 quarters. I remember seeing McCaffrey with 17 rushes for 41 yards, and now you're going up against the top 5 run defense. I can't talk you out of that game because you got to think Brady's going to get something going, and the over-under is so low. It's like 37. Brady could get 17 and win the game again.
Listen, I'm going to take one of your lines you've been telling your fans. I don't care about stats sometimes. I'm going to go with the game, and I'm going to pick the winner, right? Isn't that your line? Sometimes you just got to go with, like, I'm not looking back at yesterday. I'm not looking back at last week. I'm looking at this week, right? Hold on. Let me say this. Just because the Niners' third-string quarterback won against Miami and he had a good game, you will have a good game in football, but you will also have a bad game. And listen, Lawson, I'm going to remind you next Friday, if I can get on, that the Niners are going to lose. And I'm taking credibility for what I'm saying. Tampa Bay will cover. The only reason I'm not taking the money line because I get 3.5 points. Why would I not take 3.5 points? Why would I not take 3.5 points? Give me the 3.5 points, but Tampa Bay's winning this game. And you know what? You're pissing me off, Lawson. I'm going to actually go put my mortgage on this game.
No, please. No, but
I'm joking.
No, I felt the same thing when I saw it, and I opened at +4. Thought it would push down because Brady's always garners the bats. But yeah, man.
Yeah, give me Tampa Bay, but I like the teasers this week. Kansas City, Buffalo, and Tampa. So hopefully you guys win. Enjoy that sun, Lawson.
One day I'm going to be to Brazil. It sounds like you need the vacation.
I do need I don't need a vacation. I need to be a resident under that sun. Eat that steak. I know you be living the good life, homie. I like that shirt too. You better keep that away from me, man.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.
All right, bro. I'll see you. Come down, man.
Have a good one. Will do, brother.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, man. That Bucs 49ers game is interesting. think it's one of the most interesting games this week, to be honest. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Here we go. It's just sending an invite. Okay, here we go. Steve Whitaker, Brock Purdy is going to roll heads. Bro, like if Baker Mayfield can put up 2 touchdowns last night in 4 minutes, anything can happen. I would not rule anything out. One thing I wanted to get the chat's opinion on now that I had you here. This is also an interesting game. And I was so tempted to bet this game and make it a money pick, although I came to the conclusion I'm laying off, especially with all the crazy things that are happening on prime time. What do you guys think about the Patriots at Cardinals? Patriots -1. Yeah, RG, I don't know. Like, I don't know. He came in and he played pretty good for one game, but we know that means nothing in the league. Although sometimes in the NFL, these guys will come in, they'll have 4 or 5 games, and then they'll get punched back down to earth. Yeah, JP, that was my initial reaction. Like, everyone knows I'm Patriots hater 101, but I just don't see how the Patriots lose the game. And, everyone likes to talk about Bill Belichick and how he's going to win the game against the Vikings just by being Bill Belichick. But, man, like, I do like the coaching matchup for the Patriots this game against Cliff Kingsbury. Yeah, like Cooper Rush. And what's up, Tico, man? I hope you have a good day, man. What's up, Tim? What's up? The hoodie going to take that game away from the Cardinals? You would think, right? You would think. Also, Patreon users. This is good. Now that we got 170 in here. Patreon users. Those who are in the tiebreaker round. After this show, I will send out your picks, okay? We got 2 people going for the first place, $500. Loser gets $200. And then we have about 10, 11 people for the 103rd place game. I will send those out, and I need them completed and in my inbox by 12:55 Eastern time before the 1 o'clock games. Good luck to everyone. I'm happy to give away the prize button. Yeah, smash that like button. Smash that like button. And what's up, Sticks, man? Hope everything's good in North Carolina for you. Yeah, man. I'm curious. Yeah. I just hope everyone answers the message because I was going to send it earlier in the week, but I wanted the spreads to settle. Graded everyone's games. Everyone did pretty good, man. And kind of the difference between getting in there was if you had Saints, if you had Saints or Bucks. I mean, that kind of was the difference between the people who are going for 3rd place and going for 1st place. It was wild, man. Avon, betting on Mac Jones is crazy. Yeah. What's up, Lauren?
Well.
Like, can I say something? Like, okay,
you can say whatever you want. First of all, yeah, sure.
No. First of all, no. Firstly, like, listen, you've been coming on the show for 2 years, and have I ever thrown a loss in your face?
Never.
Exactly. Like, okay, take your victory lap. Everyone remembers, but goddamn. But yeah, I mean, good call on the Bengals.
hold on a second. The only reason, and I never throw losses in anybody else's face either. However, the hate mail that I got last week.
Hate mail.
Okay, the comments that were said about me taking the Cincinnati money line were just absurd. Okay, so everybody that was there
give us an example.
Okay, so I'm gonna keep the names out of this. Okay, let's keep everyone. I had one comment that said, please get this girl off. She belongs on somebody's arm instead of talking about football. Maybe she should be on a makeup show. I got that comment.
I believe it. Like, listen, yeah, no, I get what you're saying. It is YouTube. Like, Lauren, you know how this society is. Like, a lot of people have like pent up aggression. It's not necessarily. Hold up, she got kicked off. Let me. Okay, here she got kicked off. I didn't kick her off. But yeah, man, it's YouTube. You know how that stuff goes. You know. Okay, got you back.
I don't know what the hell happened. Okay.
But like I was saying, yeah, like I get it. Makes sense. But like I was saying, you know, we have to understand these. We have to understand these people. There's a lot of people who are really frustrated because life is not easy. I'll tell you that. I got one of the easier lives in the world, and life is not easy. And then these people just take it out on other people who have nothing to do with it.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm the one that cashed a pretty heavy ticket on Cincinnati money line. So everybody, all the guys out there, whoever wanted to make nasty ass comments, and when I said Tua has never faced a defense like San Francisco, I got some hate for that one too. So all I'm saying right now is, do I lose? Yeah, don't we all? But if I make a money pick, I'm standing behind it because I'm betting it. And everybody wants to know it. I don't need to hear your mouth because you're telling me that Cincinnati money line is ridiculous and she doesn't know what she's talking about. Yada, yada, yada. I've been on here for 2 years for a reason. So
and like, listen, and people in the comment section, remember, you've been on the Bengals, you've been riding this train for a long time. So
what did I say? They're like a fine wine. They get better as the season goes on. Point blank.
Yeah. And I do think, and instead of just talking about the game, people like to just bash people's just bash like the person. It's like ad hominem. It's when they run out of arguments, they just go there.
That's right. But that's cool. I'm okay. I mean, we're not going to win them all, but you know,
she keeps getting kicked off. Yeah. And yeah, you got to fire the picks, man. Fire the picks. Okay. Is your internet going?
No, that was my fault. Sorry.
People are going to think I'm booting you from the chat because I'm still butthurt about Travis Kelce fumbling that. It was like Titans all over again, man.
I'll tell you what, and you might not believe this, but I have proof in the ticket. I took the Rams money line last night. Whoa!
Yeah, congratulations. I
did. I listen. I was just being contrarian. I was going out on a limb. The whole Baker thing. I was just being very, I was taking a huge gamble on it. It wasn't like I was 1,000% having this premonition or anything. I just did it.
Yeah, and then plus, like, people love you. So like, like, listen, if you don't got haters, you're not doing something right.
True.
I make a lot of people mad. Okay?
Oh, I know.
But it's not. Yeah, you obviously made people mad because as I'm sure you saw that Chiefs Bengals game, it made you want to punch a wall. if you were betting the Chiefs.
Sure. You got to know when to lay off a team and when to, and again, if we were all psychic and whatever, we would be living in Vegas, right? But I was strong by that bet. I was going to live and die by it. I was 100% confident in it. Now, could I have lost? Sure. But I felt really good about it. So congrats to me. Yay, me. Woohoo. But
yeah, I mean, this is a game where the person hitting like 60% is Tom Brady. So it's
speaking of that
game.
game. Yeah, speaking of that game. So
yeah, let's get to it.
I mean, I don't know that I want to play that game, but I don't know that I can go against Tampa getting 3.5 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's where I'm at, and I just think we should have done it. Go on.
I like the under. I just think it's going to be I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think close, a lot of running. I like the under.
Yeah, I've went back and forth with that one all week with that under because it's 37, correct? Let me just.
I believe so. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me just double check that for our viewers. So yeah, continue talking. I'm looking it up. Okay, over under is 37, on some is 37.5. I mean, that's about as low as a Brady game gets, but if it was the Broncos, people would have no problem pounding that under.
Yeah, for sure.
So you don't think Brock Purdy's going to get into the 20s then?
You know how we talk sometimes about games that you want to just be able to watch and enjoy it, and you just are excited because, it might be a primetime game or it's a late afternoon game and there's not a lot of other things going on during that time. That's kind of how I feel about this one.
I agree completely. Go on.
But if I'm getting 3.5 points with Tampa, I mean, I don't. That'd be the way that I went.
So let's go to another game. So Cleveland Browns are at the Cincinnati Bengals. Browns opened up at plus 6.5. I think when I picked them on Tuesday, they're at 6.5. And then of course they're moving down. Do you think the Bengals cover that spread at 5.5?
I know everyone's expecting me to say yes, but no.
Yeah,
another divisional game.
That's the money pick of the week. 5.5.
I think Cincinnati wins. I think Cincinnati wins. I don't think that I think it's a closer game than that spread is.
Yeah, and I guess I'll just give my opinion about the game, and you can respond. Listen, Deshaun Watson he played terrible last week.
This is awful. He hasn't played in 2 years. Did anybody expect? Did anybody expect him to come out there and be Patrick Mahomes? What were these people thinking?
Well, some of us are big Deshaun Watson fans. I'm joking.
Right.
Listen, my expectations were low, but he didn't hit my low expectations. There's a lot of problems with the Browns, but do you think the Bengals have a problem with the Browns, or do you think that talk is BS?
I think it's a divisional rivalry, just like Philly and Dallas. Just, you know what I mean? Just like, Tampa and the Saints. Just, there's so many, all these divisional games, they're all going to be tight like that. Like, I don't even know that I think I want to lay 8.5 with Kansas City against Denver. I don't.
No. I mean, Denver's defense keeps games really, really close.
Yeah.
So
if they could score more than 18 points, they'd have like a winning record. I mean, so it's just, I think that those divisional games, that's why I'm on the Giants this week.
Yeah. Well, now it pushed out. I saw on FanDuel, I don't know on every other book, but I saw on FanDuel it pushed out the plus 7.5, which with the way Dayball coaches, you got to think the Giants cover that.
He's a great coach. And aren't the Giants at home?
Correct.
You're talking a divisional home team getting 7.5 points.
Yeah, and plus, like, listen, I think the Giants have overachieved a lot this year, and I think they got their problems. But remember when Philly hit that kind of valley a few games back and they got going against the Titans? I'm not sure the Eagles are going to sling it around and get into the 30s like everyone seems to think. Like, I don't think the Eagles offense is going to struggle like they did against the Colts, for instance, but also I don't see them getting into the 30s. And for me, man, they kind of have to get in the 30s to cover that, because it seems like the Giants are worth like 20 to 23 points a game just based on play. So.
Yeah. And, I mean, Dable calls a good game. So I see it to be a little bit closer. I mean, shoot, the Indy game was like a 2 or 3 point game. You don't think the Giants, their divisional rival, can keep it close? Give me a break.
I got a Patreon question that I missed. Let me just answer this. What would you put in a 4-team, 13-point teaser? Okay, here's the teams I would pick. I'd pick the Ravens. I would pick the Vikings. I would probably pick the Chiefs, and I would take Zona. But yeah, it's just a segue. What do you think about the Vikings-Lions this week?
Michael Mann said send him an invite when you're ready. But that to me, this screams some sort of like trap to me. I don't understand why why Minnesota is the underdog. I don't. So to me, this screams like sucker bet. So.
Well, it seems like some people felt like, okay, we're late to the party. Let's just pound the Lions now. But sometimes that party goes.
Yeah. So I think it's something I'm going to stay away from. I'm high on Baltimore this week, and my best bet is the Chargers.
Yeah, we'll get to that Chargers game. But yeah, let's just talk about Ravens Steelers. We're talking about that earlier. I love the Ravens this week.
Me too. They've got something to play for. Pittsburgh's not in contention.
And it's just foolproof what I'm about to say. Now, if you go back and look at Tyler Huntley's stats last year with the Ravens, obviously the stats weren't good. But with us having to watch those games, and I got a pretty good memory, I feel like he's a damn good backup quarterback. I remember like the whole Ravens team was kind of out against Chicago, and he still managed to win the game out at Chicago. But I felt like Tyler Huntley showed some things last year. Am I crazy?
And he actually played against a good Green Bay team that was at the time like 10-4, and where Devontae Adams was still there. And he went toe-to-toe with that damn Green Bay team last year and nearly won it. I don't even know I think it might have gone to overtime. I'm not sure, but it was tit for tat against a good Green Bay team last year. So yeah, I'm not sold that Pittsburgh can beat Baltimore. Baltimore's got a lot to play for. They're trying to hang on right now as much as possible. They got Cincinnati up their ass right now, and right now Baltimore's in first. Cincy's right behind them. I think it's going to come down to obviously those two. So, I mean, Baltimore's got a lot to play for right now. They are going to be mad hyped for this game. And aren't they the underdog?
No, yeah, they're the underdog. They're plus 2.5. And just to answer this question, what would the line be if Lamar was playing? Pick'em Ravens minus 1.5. My math is not that good. I think you have a top 10 quarterback. It's worth between 4 or 6 points. So I would say it would be Ravens like -3, -3.5. Although that would be Steelers are good at keeping games close. But I agree with you. I'm looking forward to this game. I listen. One thing that could be the difference in this game is Justin Tucker. I mean, you got Ravens plus 2.5. This could be like a 1-point game with the field goals. I like it. It's down to plus 2 now. Sorry about that.
That's the two of the best kickers in the league right there. So, and obviously Justin Tucker is always going to be leading that category. So, I would definitely take Justin Tucker over 1.5 field goals if you can get that bet.
Yeah. Someone on Instagram wanted me to ask you a question. They were asking, you bet over unders?
Sometimes.
Got you. They was just curious about that. Yeah, I saw you joined on Instagram Live today. Appreciate it. Lawson bets NFL on Instagram. Yeah, like there's one game I'm waiting for when Michael Mann comes on. But yeah, go into why you think the Chargers are going to beat the Dolphins' ass.
So here's my pick on the. I actually wrote stuff down on this. Right? Hold on, let me find it.
Yeah, because while you look for it, I just want to say a lot of people haven't been talking about this game, and I think it's a really interesting game.
So, like, have we not seen the injuries in the Dolphins? Have you not seen this problem we've got right now going? I don't think Tua's practiced all week. Honestly, I don't know what happened today, but as of yesterday, he hasn't even practiced. Not to say he's not going to play, but clearly he got banged up last week. Teron Armstead with this pec issue, that's a huge blow to this Miami team. And Waddle's like a game time decision. I mean, I don't see how they're going to maneuver their way into winning this and covering the spread. The Chargers at home, now if either Keenan Allen or Mike Williams is playing, you don't even need them both. You just need one. Because you got Joshua Palmer, who, Mr. Air Canada, and then you got the tight end that he loves. So, and Khalil Mack is up front there. So, I know that this is not a divisional game. This is obviously a regular, non-divisional, non-rivalry game. But give me the Chargers at home with 3.5. Damn, give me the money line. I'm on Chargers to win.
Yeah, like, listen. I'm really nervous about the Teron Armstead situation.
That to me is a deal breaker for Miami right there.
Yeah, I guess I'll try to. Here's the only thing that worries me. I don't know if they're okay. We got like teams like Atlanta. We got teams like the Seahawks front seven. There's other teams who are really bad stopping the run. Detroit earlier this year. But I'll tell you what, I don't know if there's a worse front seven at stopping the run than the Chargers. I don't. And that's what worries.
The thing about it is, how much does Miami really run?
They got a pretty good run pass balance. Now, they weren't able to against the 49ers last week, but yeah, Miami has gone away from the run-heavy attack. Earlier in the year, they ran it quite a bit, in my opinion, and then they gone away from it. But they're going to have to go with it this game, you would think.
So that's just it. So, I mean, I haven't seen enough running as of late from Miami to make me nervous that the Chargers – and if it gets into a shootout, which it potentially could, but I really think that this Teron Armstead injury, just like you said, is really, really going to affect this game. And Tua he's so fragile. You know what I mean? Last week you saw it. They got after him. And the Chargers are nothing like the San Fran D at all. But Khalil Mack comes flying forward and lands on you. We talked about it. You might see Skylar Thompson.
Yeah. We don't want to see that.
No.
And from my understanding, it's an ankle injury for Tua. And I think they could actually patch the pass blocking, but I worry about Tua not being mobile. Here's another thing I worry about. So I really like the Dolphins earlier in the week. But another thing I worry about on some books, this moved out to plus 3.5 for the Chargers. Let me go on. Just want to double check that.
Well, and also, this game got flexed into primetime, right?
Thank God. Because there's been so many bad primetime games this year. Listen, just to go off topic, has there been a worse year for primetime?
Well, not for a Thursday night. This has been the worst Thursday, except for last night. Last night was kind of exciting, but until that. And really, like the Saints Arizona game was on a Thursday night. That was kind of exciting, high scoring, over 56 or 70, 60 points or whatever. So that was kind of exciting. But other than that, I said it earlier, Amazon got screwed. So their Thursday night contract got screwed.
Yeah, unless maybe they got a deal because NFL tickets up this year. But if it's just that Thursday night game, you're right. Even a game like Bills Patriots, you would think, okay, divisional matchup, it's going to be all right. It wasn't even a good game.
So. Right. So, I think the Chargers are going to have this game. The Chargers need this game. So, Miami needs it too. But really, now that they're primetime home dogs, all over it.
Yeah,
dogs are catching this year.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. I don't get how it moved out the plus 3.5. And this is from someone who's been betting the Dolphins all year. I don't know how it moved out the plus 3.5.
I know confused. That's a lot.
Yeah, because it's on FanDuel, it's on MGM, so I imagine it's on like 70% at plus 3.5.
Man. A lot. Too much for my blood. I'm on the Chargers.
Well, because it just seems like it's going to be a really close game. I think Miami's going to show up. I don't think it's going to be like last week. And the Chargers are getting a little bit better. Chargers got serious issues, though. Someone was bringing up their pass rush ever since Bosa's been out. And I think a lot of it's scheme with them, too. But like you said, Tua on a bad ankle, a lot of their stuff is him rolling out. I'm not saying he's like Mike Vick or anything, but a lot of his stuff involves movement. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I agree.
Any other games you like?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling Arizona.
Yeah, well,
I'm on the other side of you, I think, on that one.
Well, for me, I think that's a stay away. I wanted to bet the Patriots so bad when I first saw that, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I'm on Zona. I think here's the thing: New England can run the ball. We know they've got Ramondre Stevenson and the other guy who has been out this part of this year. What the hell's his name? Whatever his name is.
I'm blanking.
I know, me too. And you had Mac Jones screaming at them last week, saying the run game sucks, and really their run game's not bad. But Mac Jones is screaming at them. My problem is, if Kyler's playing, you've got DeAndre Hopkins, possibly Rondell Moore, whoever else he's throwing to. He's got all these people he can throw to. Who is New England throwing to? And they throw the least out of anybody I've ever seen. To keep up with this Arizona team, you're going to have to throw some bombs. And they can do that in Arizona. I don't see them doing that in New England.
Yeah, well, that was what Mac Jones was complaining about, the lack of downfield play. And remember, earlier in the year, we were ranting about Matt Patricia being the offensive coordinator, and I think it's finally come to roost. People thought they were getting going against the Vikings. I didn't buy into that.
Right.
I am worried about Arizona's sloppy play, though. I don't know if there's a more sloppy team in this league.
And, New England's got a good defense. New England has a really good defense, but I just think that Arizona can score. And I see a great defensive game out of New England. I see a lot of running, but you can only run so much before you have to make something explosive. And you got to have, Kendrick Bourne's going to run 60 yards for a touchdown. I don't see it. So
Well, and Devontae Parker, he was playing really good at times this year. Then, of course, he gets injured. I think he'll play this game, but who knows what his health is. And the Patriots really need that because Mac Jones' complaint was everything's underneath. And at a certain point, you have to throw it down the field. And then, like you said, the Cardinals, they can at least move tempo better on offense. Kyler Murray's been bad this year. We'll see how he is coming back from the injury. I think that's what the game comes down to. Can he scramble or not? And like you said, I do think what you said is important. The Patriots defense is good, not great. Too many people have been going in on, the Patriots defense is great this year. They ate up on a lot of bad opponents like Zach Wilson.
Yeah. And speaking of that game, 9.5? 9.5? On the best Jets team that we've seen in a decade.
Yeah, I like that game's tough. Well, you got Jets to cover, right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the Jets just beat them a month ago with Zach Wilson. I mean, I know that Buffalo's getting healthier and this is their time to shine. They're going to the playoffs. We all know it. But, they can just be vulnerable at times. And another divisional game, rivalry game, 10 points? I mean,
it doesn't feel like the Bills have played a full 4 quarters too many times this year, maybe 2 or 3 games.
They're going to win. I mean, yeah, we all know probably Buffalo's going to win. But I don't know. I mean, I'll take the 10 points all day.
Yeah, and it makes sense. And this Jets defense is really good. I mean, Vikings were able to move it in the first half, but it was more about play calling and not bad refereeing calls, but the refs were really involved in the secondary on Sauce Gardner, calling them every single time on a 3rd and 7 for illegal contact. That's why we hit that one, although Vikings deserved it. But Mike White's moving the ball.
Yeah. He is. And he almost came back and beat your Minnesota team last week. So, I mean, I'm just saying, he's definitely has some more explosiveness than Zach Wilson did. And I think that, Jets defense is good. I mean, Josh Allen is great, and as elite as he is, he turns the ball over.
Yeah, well, that's been the issue. On the red zone turnovers, nothing fucking breaks your back more. Ask the Raiders last night. Remember when Carr?
Yeah. And I said this. I have said this all year. The team that's going to be up 2 scores in the 4th quarter that will break your hearts will be the Raiders. They've done it at least 6 times this year.
17-point leads and they just blow them it's nothing.
Blowing it every time. That team will screw up for wet dreams. I say all the
time. But that's why I think Josh McDaniels needs to go.
Right.
I know Carr's going to be the whipping boy and he's really easy to whip up on. I would not defend him like I did in the past. But man, Josh McDaniels, are you seeing the same thing?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, if you can't maintain 17 points in the final 4 minutes, I mean, what are you doing there?
Against fucking Baker Mayfield. And you remember how much they were up on the Jags? They were up 24-0 or something. It's just, Jags were up on them. There were other games they blew. The first 6 weeks, they blew 3 17-point leads. So.
3 weeks in a row. I mean, it was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
There's another play I like in this Jets-Bills game. I don't want to give it away, put it on Patreon, but there's another play I like in this game. And you'll probably understand it because you seem to think Mike White's going to play good. So
I do.
I should give that hint. And I think both quarterbacks turn it over, which is a good reason.
Yeah, right. So I think that they can go tit for tat for each other. I think Buffalo wins, but maybe by 7, 6, 5. I don't know. Definitely not 10. But I could be wrong. I could be eating crow next week. I just, You give me a divisional team, divisional rivalry game, and you give me 10 points. Thank you. And so, yeah, Michael, are you coming on or what? Because oh, really?
He's having roommate issues.
Oh, I need someone to explain to me why Carolina, who hasn't won a road game all year, is going to go into Seattle and win.
Yeah, I got Seattle to win in the cover. Thinking about that.
Someone tell me why. I've seen it all. Literally, I've seen it all week. Carolina wins and covers. How? Why?
I'll give the argument because I play both sides in my head. Okay. Seattle, their running backs are hurt. And last week against the Rams, they should have put up like 35 points, and they managed to only put up like, 24, 20 in that range. And then the Seahawks defense is obviously bad. But listen, Sam Darnold's not the guy to take advantage of that. And that's where I'm at. Seahawks defense has been bad running the ball against the run this year, but I think they'll play pretty good this game. Not great. And I think that's enough to beat Sam Darnold. And the Seahawks offense, they're moving the ball really well. That's one thing about it.
Yeah, I mean, have we ruled out Kenneth Walker already? Is he ruled out of this game? Because I know he was questionable, but even so, I mean, you got Geno Smith. I mean, I love you, Michael, man, but I mean, Sam Darnold, this is what, his third game this year? Second game? I mean, I don't know. I mean, so Geno's playing lights out. Don't tell me that Carolina, who hasn't won a road game all year, is going to march into Seattle of all places.
Yeah, and maybe the thought is with Kenneth Walker's questionable, DJ Dallas, the other running backs, questionable, DK Metcalf is questionable. But I've seen this song and dance with DK Metcalf the last 4 weeks. He's going to play.
Yeah, and Tyler Lockett's the guy over there. Let's be honest. DK's doing a lot of blocking. Tyler Lockett is his deep throw guy.
Yeah, and that's why. And then Michael Mann mentioned, Seahawks are like 28th, 27th against the run. But listen, when you get to play Sam Darnold, you get to load up. I'm not sure Sam can beat you deep.
And the Seattle defense is not playing that bad lately. I know that they've laid up some points last week, but they're not playing horrible. So I definitely think they can get after this Carolina team and at home. And, I'm not touching I don't know what the spread, but I mean, you're talking straight up. I've been hearing Carolina money line all week, and I'm just trying to figure out who knows something that I don't, because I can't play it. I mean, and if it happens,
competitive, but it's just like at a certain point against Seattle, this game could get into a shootout, which is completely possible given Seattle's defense. And then Geno's going to move the ball. Like, I think everyone's overreacting to the Rams game last week with Seattle.
Yeah.
But Seahawks still found a way to win it. They didn't cover, which was a fucking blow. Listen, if you watch the game, Seahawks are moving the ball better than ever. Panthers got a good defense, but I just think they're going to be on the field a lot.
I do. I think you're right. And and that's why, I think that traveling cross country, that shit matters. You know what I mean? They couldn't be any farther away. So you got to go into a place like Seattle. I mean, and again, Geno, comeback player of the year. Give that kid some credit.
Yeah, and listen, and just to respond to the chat, I don't think Seattle's all that hard a place to play anymore. It's not like 2012, where it's a tough place to play. I don't think it's an easy place to play. So yeah, I don't think that's factoring into the game at all. I just want to see if Carolina can complete passes. When you got Sam Darnold, that's a legitimate question.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
go on.
no, I was just gonna say people talk about why is Seattle hard to play, this whole 12th man thing, whatever. I mean, you're talking about the most northwest NFL city on the map. You know what I mean? So everyone that's traveling there is coming from far away. You know what I mean? So it can be tough in there. I'm not saying it's hard. It's not Denver, but I mean, it's still.
And last game, and then I'll get you off. We haven't talked about this game too much. And just for someone asking in the chat, we both like the Ravens in the Steelers game.
Oh, all day. Ravens, money pick for me.
Yeah, they were a money pick for me earlier this week.
Ravens is a money pick all day. Ravens money line. I'll go that far.
Yeah. So just for someone in the chat who was asking. All right, let's just finish with this game, unless you got another game you want to talk about. I find this game kind of interesting. Jags +4 at the Titans. I think it moved down to Jags +3.5. Looks like Trevor Lawrence will play. Are you feeling an upset, or do you think the Titans are going to beat the shit out of him?
I mean, 4 weeks ago, I might have told you the Titans are going to beat the shit out of them. But I don't know. I mean, we've got people keep saying Derrick Henry is the X factor. No, right now, when you need to make plays, Treylon Burke is the X factor. So it depends if he's playing.
Yeah, they've had a lot of good passes the last 6 weeks.
Trevor Lawrence has a wide open plethora of people to throw to. Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, Evan Ingram. I mean, he's got all kinds of people he can throw to over there. All right. Jamal Agnew. I mean, like, you name it, he's finding people. But if Robert Woods is my only option to throw to, I'm not. I'm on the Jags.
Yeah, and I'm on a Jags too.
Yeah, if Treylon Burke is playing, maybe I would change my mind.
And I think there's going to be an overreaction.
Yeah, Treylon Burke is a big play.
Yeah, like you see how people are overreacting about Detroit, even though we've loved them the whole year. Now they're on the train. Feel like they're going to overreact about the Jags game. I didn't hear much talk about the Eagles slapping around the Titans this week. There's 2 questions that are interesting for us to answer. I'll get to the first one. Jarrett, Hart, Lawson, Lauren, which teams are making AFC, NFC championship as of now? That's a tough one. I got Bills, Bengals, and I got Eagles. I don't know how that matchup's going to work out, but I got Eagles. I wanted to go 49ers, but I got Eagles, Cowboys, unfortunately. I mean, with the 49ers right now without Jimmy G, it's hard to see an option.
So it's going to be the Eagles and somebody, right? I had Eagles, 49ers also. Now.
Hey.
Ooh,
sorry it took so long.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Thanks for having me, guys.
I had Eagles, 49ers also for a long time. But now I still feel like the 49ers can manage their way in just solely on their defense. When you come to the AFC, yes, I've got Buffalo and Cincinnati.
I'm not giving up on the Niners either. I still think they're well deep into this, especially with how bad the NFC is. Michael.
Baker freaking Mayfield.
Can't explain it. I don't know what
Can
happened.
I just tell you, I was thinking of you all night last night.
Dude, that just goes to show how bad Matt Rule is. Like, dude, no kidding. I mean, McVay made Baker look better in 2 days than Rule did the entire season.
So do you know that McVay had, when Baker was going into the draft, he sat on the plane next to McVay. right? When they were going to the combine or whatever. And McVay was like, well, we'll never get him because we're so far down or whatever. But this guy's, he really took a liking to Baker. And he's talked to him ever since. Like, so McVay has always liked Baker. So when he went to the Rams, I knew he was going. Everyone probably knew he was going to the Rams. I said in my head last night, I said, I give it 8 minutes into this game before this kid gets sacked, turns the ball over, whatever, gets rolled. You know what I mean? And you're going to see Baker Mayfield. A day and a half on that team.
You know what, though? I don't know who the Rams play next week, but whoever it is, it might be a money pick the other way. Because, listen,
because of the hype zone.
Credit to Baker. We can't take what he did for granted. He played amazing last night. I mean, what he did was, like, absolutely phenomenal, and not everyone could have done that. But the Raiders suck. I mean, can we just talk about that? The Raiders stink for even letting that happen.
I've been talking about that all year.
Dude,
I've been talking about how bad the Raiders are all year.
The defensive play calling on the final drive. I mean, you leave the outside receiver was single covered and press coverage in the last 15 seconds of the game, right? Like, what are you doing?
It's bad, man. Also, some holding calls were missed.
Dude,
a lot seems to be a theme on NFL primetime games.
Dude, these last two primetime games have pissed me off. Because first, I sold my soul to the devil and rooted for New Orleans on Monday night, and they did that. They did the same thing that the Raiders did, and then I had to rewatch pretty much the same game last night with Baker Mayfield.
It was the same game.
Yeah, literally.
Let's get to this question because, like that Raiders, I want to just forget about that.
Oh, my gosh.
AP from Indy, is there a single functioning entity in the NFC South, Lawson? Maybe you could look at the Bucs defense and say that is, but I don't think so. Like, I think the Falcons are a well-coached team, but we knew coming in there like bottom 6, bottom 7, talent-wise. I'm not as high on the Panthers as other people. I'm not like drinking the Steve Wilkes stuff. So that's where I'm at, and the Saints are a complete dumpster fire right now. How that I just don't know. The Saints have been confounding. They've been really, really confounding, almost as much as like the Ravens for me. At least the Ravens have managed to win games, but that's my opinion.
It's a free entry to the playoffs. The NFC South is basically a free ticket to the playoffs. Somebody come and get it. Nobody wants it.
Dude, Panthers won it. I'm telling you, they're going to – I don't think they're going to win this week, but if they win this week and the 49ers somehow pull it out –
oh, here we go. 17, Carolina's going to the playoffs. Here we go.
We've done it before. I've seen it happen, like, under these same circumstances. So
yeah, I mean, listen, anybody in the NFC South. That's what's so interesting about that division right now. How terrible they all are is that you have a free entry into the playoffs, and nobody gives a shit. Nobody wants. Well, it. The way that they're playing.
See, the reason, and listen, I don't think the Panthers are going to win the division, but the reason I feel better about the Panthers than I do about Atlanta or New Orleans is because the Panthers literally like 2 months ago, they were the top team or the number one pick in the draft. And since Steve Wilkes has come in, I mean, say what you will, but the team has like played a lot harder for him. The defense has figured out pretty much all their issues. The offense has actually found a run game. Like, the team is trending in the right direction. The only problem is the Bucs are actually lucking their way into wins now because teams keep choking against them. And that's the only thing really stopping us at the moment.
But that's the problem. And then there's also, if I'm not mistaken, with the schedule, there's a lot of NFC South divisional games left this year.
Yes, like, exactly.
Out of the 5 games that are left, I think they all play each other.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing, too. Like, we already beat Tampa once this year. Like, the most underrated thing about the Panthers is that they're 3-1 in their division. And if we could kick a field goal against Atlanta, it'd be 4-0. So yeah, we beat Tampa once, kicked the crap out of them. When Steve Wilkes first came in, we beat y'all early in the year. I think you guys are going to beat us week 18, but we point is we have a chance. And we beat the Falcons a couple weeks ago on Thursday. Ran all over them. We play Tampa Bay week 17. I don't think we'll win that game, but it's not an impossibility. And then we play the Saints again. So I mean, I don't think the Panthers are going to win it, but I mean, it's in there. It could very well be in their hands, and that's all you can ask for when your team is 4-8.
I'll be honest with you. There's a recipe for every one of those teams to make it in.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there is.
Bucks are at 6 wins though. Like I think they're
yeah,
gonna go
but I'm saying they all play each other.
Schedule?
The problem is they all play each other the rest of the year.
See, but the thing about the Bucks is the Bucks are gonna lose some games, I think, because they got the Niners this week and they got the Bengals next week. So that could very easily be 2 losses.
Oh yeah,
Lauren, I know you're picking the Bengals. You probably already got that bet in.
Hell yeah, I'm picking the Bengals all day.
And I'll be rooting for them. But yeah, so that could easily be 2 losses for Tampa Bay. Carolina plays Seattle this week, Pittsburgh next week, and then Detroit. Like, I don't know if they're gonna win any of those games, but I know they're all winnable, and that's all I can ask for. So Lawson looks like I'm talking crazy right now. So
oh no, like I don't know. Like I just think the NFL, like the way they're going, they're gonna get the Bucks in here.
Oh, good point.
Yeah, it's probably true. It's
not trying to be the tinfoil hat guy, but bro, if there's like a chance they can get the Bucks in, they'll fucking push those buttons, man.
Dude,
yeah,
I was shocked.
They're the ones that are on the way right now. They're the ones that are on the way. You know what I mean? But again, this division is such a dumpster fire that there's a recipe for every single one of them to make it in.
Dude, no one's going to talk about this, but in that Saints game, when they called that holding call on Donovan Smith on the touchdown scoring play, and it made the Bucks go back to 1st and 15 at the goal line, I was utterly stunned that the refs threw that flag. Like it was a well-warranted holding call, but I thought the Bucks lost the game on that play. Like for a split second, I had hoped the Saints could hold out.
Oh, me too. Listen, guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna listen to y'all for a little bit longer, but I gotta jet. But it's been fun. It's been awesome. I'm glad that I got to see you guys this week, and I hope I can see you guys next week.
Yeah,
see you, Lauren.
Peace out.
Bye, guys. See you later.
Go Bengals.
Go Bengals.
Yeah, go Bengals.
Go Bengals. Go Burrows. Damn right.
Yeah, Burrow's awesome, man. Burrow's awesome.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, I would. Go ahead, boss.
So, I mean, it's just like the NFC South. It might be the worst division I've seen. We've had bad AFC Souths. We've had really, really bad NFC East. But yeah, this is the worst division I think I've seen.
I don't know if I'd say that. I think the NFC East a few years ago might be worse. I think whoever wins the division will at least get to like 7 or 8 wins. Like I don't think this is going to be a 6. I mean, it can't be a 6 win division
though. We get the extra game.
True, but I mean, 8-8, 8-9 is better than 7-9. I think the winner of this division gets to at least like 7 or 8 wins.
Yeah, and just to respond to Jared Hart, I felt like bringing up like the NFC South has a tough schedule was kind of odd because they all get to play each other. And yes, like the Bucs have a really hard schedule. I would not say like the Panthers have had a hard schedule, just for instance.
I mean, I think the division as a whole has had like harder schedules, like maybe top 10 in the league, but it's nothing like it's not like all these teams have top 5 difficult schedules. Maybe the Bucs do, but I know these other teams
because
don't.
The Bucs are the one team and they pair it that way. And then like I look at the Vikings. The Vikings have had to play the Dolphins. Vikings have had to play the Bills. And they played the Jets. Jets obviously, like if you do that from last year's record, it's an easy game. It's just like, the schedule, man, is hard to predict. But yeah, like what games did you like this week, Mike? And people are giving you advice on roommates. So
oh really? Oh shoot, my bad.
No. There's no roommate in the background. It's just they saw your comment. Yeah, man, it takes a lot out of people. Like I said, I think people are designed to like live with family, not live with roommates.
my thing is I can do roommates, but I don't like living. So I'm not gonna show my room, but it's basically just one big open space where 2 people live, and I don't like that crap. I need my own room,
Dude, that's the future. They're going to have people in pods.
dude. Literally, yeah.
Not trying, since I
Sucks.
got the tinfoil hat on with the Tim Donaghy NFL stuff, I really think their dream is to have people living in pods, like a pod life.
It'd be fun.
Yeah, well, yeah, sure. But yeah. What games you like this week?
I kind of touched on it earlier, but I do like the Niners to beat the Bucks. I just think the Niners defense carries, and I think Shanahan can do enough with Purdy to get over like 16 and pull it out. I think that isn't it -4 for San Fran right now?
Yeah, it's down to -3.5.
Okay. I still like the Bucks to cover, but I do like the Niners to win.
Yeah. That spread, I just think that's a game not worth touching.
I agree.
What Brady does, they have to change something on offense. But I've been saying that for like 7-8 weeks. Their run game is so damn bad. It is so damn bad,
dude. And they love to do it too for no reason at all, despite the fact that it never works.
Yeah, man. I like the 1 run yard. They're not even getting 1 yard runs.
No.
And they run it every first down. Like they're the most predictable team in the league. And everyone was saying, "Oh, Brian Leftwich. Oh, he needs to get a head coaching job." Bro, I would
not with that play
very
calling.
Yeah, I know,
dude. I was the commentators on Monday night were kind of talking about it. Like they're basically saying how Leftwich could possibly lose his job for that performance. Because the play calling in the first half was just so bad.
Yeah, and just to let everyone know, every I post is on Patreon, $5 a month, link in the description. Bets will be up tonight. Also, for those of you who are in the contest, right after the show, I'll send out the spread picks. Check your inbox. They need to be in by Sunday, 12:55 Eastern. Yeah, man. What game you want to talk about? You think my Vikings are going to beat the Lions?
Yeah, I was actually going to just say that. Is Detroit still favored by 2?
Yes.
Okay, so let me get this straight. The Vikings are what? 10-2, 9-2, something like that. That they have 9 wins. Detroit's what? 4-5, and they're favored. Yeah, no, you Vikings are going to win and cover that game, guaranteed. If nothing else.
I think they do. I think they do. And like you said in the comment section, yeah, Vikings weren't that good against the Jets, but I don't think that's dissuading me. And I've been telling everyone this Lions defense has been getting a little bit better the last 5 weeks, but I don't think it makes a difference. And I think the Vikings will be able to get into the 30s.
If nothing else, too, you can attest to this, but if the game is close, and this game gets decided in the final minute of the fourth quarter, you can feel a lot cozier betting on Minnesota than you can Detroit.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like they've been the much better team in those kind of scenarios for this entire year. While literally, we just talked about it last week, Detroit is not great in close games.
No, they aren't. Yeah, and I think that plays a factor. Jarrett Hart, send me a message. For me, man, I look at, like you said, what you said about Dan Campbell last week, it triggered me, but it wasn't necessarily untrue, because there have been some issues, especially earlier in the year. Like they could have beat my Minnesota Vikings in the first meeting if they handled the clock better. I'll say that.
Yeah, I think Campbell is he's a good play caller, and he's clearly good at motivating his squad and getting them ready to play. But it's just the fundamentals, they don't do the little things right, and they get penalized a lot. They're constantly making mistakes on offense, that. Those are the little things that cost you close games, and that's why Detroit's not getting over the hump right now.
And Mike, before we go, because I have to go do those picks and stuff, tell us why you think the Panthers are going to cover against the Seahawks.
For me, it's mainly, and I kind of alluded to it earlier, but just how bad the Seahawks run defense is, And I think if Kenneth Walker's out, that's going to be a huge advantage for the Panthers because the Panthers' run defense is really the only weak side of that unit, I think, in my opinion. And the idea of having to cover both Metcalf and Lockett scares me. And I think this game will be higher scoring, like into the 20s, which is a lot more points than the Panthers are used to giving up, which is ultimately why I have us to lose. But Seattle's defense the last couple of weeks has low-key made a lot of bad offenses look good. And I think that could really help the Panthers out. So I have the Panthers to lose, but I do think they're going to cover the 3.5 point spread.
Yeah, the Seahawks defense, it looked like, remember when it got to midseason and they started playing a little bit better, and then like the last 3 weeks they've kind of fallen apart. Like the way they kept the Rams in the game last Sunday was a problem. Like I really wanted to bet the Hawks this week, but the defense is an issue. I know you see it opened at like +4, +4.5, and it moved down. I mean, there's people who are riding the Panthers.
Which I think that there's a fair argument to do that. I mean, the Panthers have looked, like I've been talking about, they've looked a lot better since Wilkes came in here. And I don't think Wilkes is like the answer at head coach, but he's clearly doing something right now. So I see why people are betting it. Something else I want to talk about too, which is another reason I'm picking Seattle. I know you've never really respected Bank of America Stadium as like a huge home field advantage over the last couple of years.
Of course.
But I have statistical evidence today to back that up. So I kid you not. And you can shrug me off, but when you're allowing 10 less points at home compared to on the road, I think you have a case there that home field advantage is doing something for you. We're allowing 18 points at home compared to like 27 on the road. Swear to God, you can look it up. It's a really bad differential.
Isn't that one kind of getting into like the Teddy Bridgewater is 24-3 at 1:00 games, or don't you think that stat is a little bit choosy?
See, I would I would normally, but just watching them on the field, like at home compared to on the road, I have noticed that it's different. I mean, we allowed like nearly 40 points to Marcus Mariota on the road. And then we come back the week before and had just completely shut down Tom Brady.
But don't you think that Panthers Falcons game is something which is statistically we could just call an outlier because it turned into like a shootout and the over-under was like 38.5?
Well, I would, but then I also saw the Panthers do what they did against the Bengals and allow 42 on the road. And that game was just that was the worst I've seen the Panthers defense look in at least 2 years.
I mean, okay, it could be a thing like, okay, they play better at home, but for me, home field advantage is really, really important for one principal reason. If it's loud, it is hard to audible. You've been to that stadium many times. The one thing it has going for it is it gets a little bit hot, correct? Some days. Most of the time, the weather's perfect for football, though, not hot, not intimidating. And like I said, I'm going to go back. You've been to the stadium. It doesn't get loud in there. Like, no one has a hard time changing the player audibly. That's me. No one has to go to a silent snap count because those rabid Panthers fans are just going ape shit. Am I wrong?
I think it just depends on what day you show up, man. I haven't been to a game this season, so I can't answer that for you. But in previous years, I've heard that stadium get pretty loud in previous years. But then I've also like last year it was pretty quiet the last couple of games, and since Tepper took over, I will say it's been a lot worse.
I've just never seen a team go silent count. Not on the opposing team's coaching staff. Never been to the stadium, but that's just my like I said, we'll see. And someone in the comment section said, "Aren't you trying to get us on the Carolina to cover this week?"
I do think we're going to cover, but like I said, Seattle's defense stinks. They've been playing bad lately and making offenses. My reason for the cover is just because I think the Seahawks defense is bad. At least it's been bad lately.
Yeah, Mike, when you come home, man, I got to play you in Madden.
Oh, for sure, dude. I think you're gonna beat me.
I'm getting a little bit better, man.
Yeah.
So
I haven't touched a controller in 4 months, so
yeah, and maybe you could pick a different team other than the Panthers, because like I've gotten a little bit better. So like you using Sam Darnold is kind of like a cheap win for me. So maybe you could use a different team.
nah, dude. I'm gonna pull in a Sam Darnold.
Oh God, we'll end the show on
I've
that.
beaten you with him before.
Yeah, I know. It's
So-
it's scary, man.
Yeah, it's a great game.
All right, hit the like button, share the videos. Patreon bets will be up tonight. Link in the description. Shout out to Michael Mann. Shout out to Freshness. Shout out to Lauren. Thank you for coming on. Let's get this money week 14.
Thanks for having me, Lawson. See ya.
Oh, dude, have a good one. Have a great weekend, man.